but I will try. So that you can see how well you did. All right, number 4 on page 8. Problem number 4, talking about these imaginary numbers, numbers with eyes in them. I want you to look at problem A, and just from a purely logical standpoint, your job is to figure out what x equals and what y equals. Just using pure logic, what do you think? X equals, not 0, someone said 0, no? 5. And y equals?
-4.
-4. Take a look at it, guys. See how there's an I on this side and there's an I on this side? Those have to match up. So -4 has to be the same as y, so y is -4. And then 5, this does not have an I, right? It's just a plain number. That plain number has to equal this plain number. It's that easy. That's what you do every single one of them.
If it were x minus yi, would the answer be y equals 4?
Yes. Yep.
Do you have to put the I for the -4?
No, because you're finding y.
Okay.
So that would be -4.
Okay.
And then the i's already there. So no, your x will be a number and your y will be a number. All right, now the next one is a little bit more complicated. So first of all, these parentheses aren't really necessary. And if they confuse you, you can just get rid of them. Now I'm going to take my green marker and I'm going to circle everything in the problem that doesn't have an I. In other words, everything that's not connected to the I. So that would be this. And this, and when I say I mean times I. Like this is a -1 I there, but that 3 is a plain 3. And this 4 is a plain 4. Would everybody agree that in green are the things without eyes?
Yep.
So whatever is green on this side, and the only thing over here is x, is going to equal whatever is green on that side, which is 3 plus 4. So x equals 7. It's that easy. Now I'm going to take my pink marker and I'm going to circle everything that is hooked to an eye. So that's 6. And again, to her point, I don't need the eyes. I'm looking at what's hooked to the eye. So 6, -1, and -2y. So everything pink on this side, which is just 6, has to equal everything pink on that side, which is -1 minus 2y. Right? Now I just solved. So add 1, divide by 2. So it looks like y is -7/2. Okay, looks really confusing, but it's pretty easy. Match up your colors on each side, and you should be just fine. All right, so one more. Let's see if we can do this one. Again, I'm not going to mess with the parentheses. So 5 minus 2i minus 7 equals x, be careful, minus 3 minus yi. Alright, so here's my green. On this side, I got a 5 and a -7. And on this side, I have an x minus 3. Would everybody agree with that? So I have 5 minus 7 has to equal x minus 3. So -2 equals equals x minus 3, it looks like x is 1. Negative 2 hooked to the I over here. And negative y hooked to the I over here. So Joe, this is your question. Negative 2 has to equal negative y. So y equals 2. Are we good? 5a. It's a regular little quadratic equation. And all it says is solve. So let's talk about our options. If you have a quadratic, that is x squared equation, we've discussed 3 options so far. You can try to factor it. You can complete the square, or you can use the quadratic formula. Now, you do whatever you want to do. This, shooty-tooty. You will not be able to factor this one because it doesn't factor. Interesting video. So if you want to try to factor it, that's fine. But does everybody kind of see how this one isn't going to factor?
Yeah.
All right. If you want to complete the square, have at it. I'm not going to, because remember, I have to take half of this and square it, and that's going to be a fraction, right? I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to do the quadratic formula. But you can complete the square if you want. So x equals, what's my formula say? Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, I've done this millions of times in my life, okay? You haven't. So if you want to write the formula down at the top of your page, that is a great idea. If you want to look at your problem and say A is 1, B is 3, C is negative, or C is 5, that's a great idea. And then just plug those numbers into the formula and this is what you get. Now what happens? What do I get underneath Negative 11. And what do I do when I take the square root of a, take the I out? Nothing cancels. You are finished with the problem. Yep.
So, oh wait, no.
Alright, we're gonna do one more and go to lunch. Are we good with that? Alright, look at B. We're gonna do exactly the same thing, but gotta move it all over because no matter how you're solving it, whether you're factoring or quadratic formula or whatever, you gotta have the thing equal to 0. So we'll move everything over. Let's see if I bring the 5x over. I have negative 4x. And then I'll add the 8. How does that look? Don't let me make a mistake. Is that good? Now, this doesn't factor either. But this one, I could complete the square, or I could go back and use my quadratic formula. Since I did the formula here, just for practice, I'm going to complete the square. But it's your choice. If the directions don't tell you, do however you want. Some of you might need some practice with completing the square though. So when we complete the square, remember we move the 19 over. And then we figure out what we're going to add here. Half of 4 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. This whole thing needs to be this. So what would that be in there? X minus 2. Remember, if that's a minus, this is a minus. And that equals negative 15. So now I'm going to square root both sides.
2 plus 1 is
And I'll end up with x minus 2 equals plus or minus pi root 15. And then add the 2 over. So x equals 2 plus or minus pi root 15. If you use the quadratic formula, guess what? You'll get exactly the same answer. Alright? Back at 45, have a good lunch. Let's go to lunch. Go to lunch.
If you forgot the plus or minus on the quiz,
You gotta have 2 answers, Charlie. Every time you do a quadratic, you gotta have 2 answers. Right? Brutal. It's not gonna be totally wrong.